let me introduce. I don't know whether we'll start with the real names or the the names. I will do this. I'm just gonna go in. Lex Jakababa or Eric Omone. How are you doing, Lex?
Very well.
Happy to have you around, man.
Happy to have you.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Can't wait to jump into that conversation as well. I also do have Mike, is it Dolesa or
Delisa.
Delesa? Mike Delesa.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go by his full name, you can just call him Michael Lesanya. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Happy to have you around.
Thank you.
Now, let's do this. I want to start with you, Lex. Self-worth. What is that? The worth of a youth. What are we talking about when we say understanding your worth as a youth?
You see, understanding your worth as a youth could be defined in so many different ways.
Yes.
And it really depends on how someone carries themselves, what someone is aspiring to be, and what someone is doing currently to try and reach their ultimate goal. But then you see, we are focusing mainly on the youth, the guys in the campus, sana.
Yeah.
Because we find that most of their future, their life is basically built on what they are currently doing in campus and how they carry themselves. You get? And that will basically define their future and define their worth.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty
As youth currently are basically transitioning into now men. Yes, who are building now the nation.
Pretty much. I'll be looking into Men Talk 254. I'll be asking you what you guys are essentially up to. I said, Mike,
Yes.
when we say worth for a youth, there's one thing that we youth talk about, like enjoy your youth completely, because the time is going to come when you're an adult when you won't have essentially the energy or the time to actually enjoy your youth.
Yeah.
Is it a bit confusing when you're telling this youth now, you see now though, for you to start building your worth or even then preparing for when you become a man or an adult, you gotta limit some of this, in quotes, enjoyments that we're talking about during our youth?
Yeah, sure. Knowing your worth is very important, especially in Swahili there's a saying that, or rather in Kikuyu, there's a saying that they say, uzee inakula ujana. So if you waste your time, then you'll end up crying in future. Yeah, so you need to know you are doing the do's and the don'ts.
Yes.
And how you carry yourself. That's the main name of the Man Talk 254.
Man Talk 254.
Yes.
Let's jump in there. Here's a university student. I would like to think that you met them when they've essentially just joined university. By then, they've not known even, majority of them have not even known what their career is going to be like. They've not even known how they're going to carry themselves in campus. And they say, one of the reasons that's why we go to campus is not to essentially build a life in campus, but to have the experience and exposure that can then help you make a decision once you transition off campus. What is the one thing that you talk to the youth about, essentially when it comes to how they should conduct themselves in either college or campus?
You see, before joining college or campus,
Yes.
they already have some background. And I believe most people who join college or campus come from very good backgrounds, very good morals. And then joining campus, most of them are kind of misled most of the time. Especially first year, second year, before they realize that they're already wasting time, they're already on the third year and have wasted quite some time, and probably some performance have gone down.
Yes.
You get? And then, again, the other thing that we are talking to the youth about, especially in defining their worth, is when joining campus. You see, when you're fresh in campus, defining your group is very important. And you find that you will skip from friendships before you now discover your real friends, people who can help you. But then in that process, you find that most of our youth in campus get lost. And before they realize that, I did this and this has happened, now I have to probably redo some of these courses, redo probably a whole semester, you've already wasted quite a lot of time.
That's true.
So what we are trying to talk to them about is immediately you join campus, know what you're focusing on, and try to look for people who are kind of like-minded, focusing on what brought you to campus and focusing on trying to start building your career from the onset. So that by the time you're getting to second year, by the time you're getting to third year, you already know, once I finish campus, I'm focusing on trying to get this job or trying to do this startup and trying to get these kind of people around me who can build me up now as a man.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. You're dealing with young people, and you're actually competing with so many other things, especially when it comes to the culture around campus. So when do you, I would like to know the criteria that you as Man Talk 254 use then to actually get this youth, so you start training them. It's actually a training process. You're training them to actually put them in that line of discovering their self-worth when you know very well that a time comes in campus, it's a time when majority of them have started to enjoy their freedom that they didn't get when they were back in high schools. It's a time when they want to discover their talent. It's a time when they want to discover who they are around drugs and alcohol, around peer pressure, and you know, the freedom that comes being in campus. How do you attack this as Man Talk 254?
Okay, as the Man Talk 254, the first thing that we are doing, we are identifying the problem. Then after the problem, we come up with a solution. Then after the solution, we come up with a way forward. At least to give you a smooth guideline on how to handle yourself, or rather on how to know your worth. Yes, as a youth. Because you see, maybe if you're in campus or in college, there's this thing that we call mob psychology. And we end up losing a lot depending on your age group. Maybe you are trying to imitate someone. In the process, you will end up losing yourself, because maybe you're going to do extra, or rather it may tempt you to do something that is not the right direction. Maybe you'll end up using drugs, depression, a thief, you know, such kind of things. So the moment we realize the problem is here, we'll try to come up with a solution, and then we'll try to come up with a good way forward.
Yes. Yeah. How do you identify these groups of youth who are in campus that you want to talk to as a Man 254?
As for now, we've identified a few colleges and campuses, or rather even institutions. So we have a calendar. We have a calendar that we are working on from early this month. Because this is the time that they are opening their colleges.
That's true.
So we'll be visiting them. Like Tuke University did their research. They did a survey where they identified the problems that you're going to tackle. So we have the legal advisors and the professionals who are going to handle their case there. Yeah.
Pretty much. Lax. I keep on, I will take you back to the same point that normally campus is a time for self-discovery. That's when majority of them even come out saying, maybe I was not even supposed to study education after 4 years. We do know how career and career choices go. Some of them are actually taking these courses because their parents have said, well, you gotta choose this one. Or out of the qualification, because you just had to go to campus, what you wanted essentially, you didn't land on it, so you just gotta go to campus because essentially your folks wanna take you to campus. Within that self-discovery, and when you're talking this to this youth, have you managed to change the mindset of some of them, saying, well, you see, you might not actually end up in whatever it is that you've started on?
I refer to some discussion that we had in some institution. We went to Orthodox seminary.
Yes.
And you'd expect those students to be well kept, not vulgar, very well behaved. Outside, when you look at them, that is basically what you
That's the picture that you get, yes.
That's the picture that you'd get. But then we discovered that even in church-based institutions, especially these were boys who were confined in some kind of a way, and they're next to another institution, And you see, they were talking about having restrictions on talking to ladies on the other institution, because this is now basically a boys' institution. They are having restrictions on basically these things that involve self-discovery, sexual discovery, and all that. So we discovered that, because that was our first institution.
Yes.
So we discovered that there are a lot of things that are going on, especially on in colleges for the first joiners, and then as they progress, they are now pulled into different groups that lead them different ways. There are groups that will focus on learning, focusing on career. There are groups that will focus on drugs abuse and all that. There are groups that will just basically, if it's men, that will focus on ladies.
Yes.
If it's ladies, will basically focus on hunting men and all that. You get?
Yes.
And then what we said, because that was our first institution, so from there we had a serious discussion with them, because we had already identified the problem. We came up with some kind of a solution, and this is guided basically by their lecturers, because they already know them. Apparently these guys know what these young men go through. They don't have a platform to help them.
Yes.
And I really don't think there is a government institution that focuses on mentoring these young people, because again, it's a difficult task. Going through all the colleges and universities, you might not get enough time. So what we are focusing on is capturing them at the inception. Joining campus, tunaanza na wewe, then we move on, and then after we have the initial discussions, we make follow-up discussions on the same.
Yes.
So that we see, because we again planning to go back to Orthodox seminaries to just make follow-up on the discussions that we had, to see if we had any impact
on it.
If there wasn't much impact, then we plan on inviting other people to help us now impact whatever we are trying to give them.
Yes.
So that the end game is to have an empowered boy child, to have a responsible boy child, to have a boy child that can help us build the nation. Not those guys when wanasemanga jenga inchi sisi tutakuja kupaka rangi.
Mike, here's the thing.
I
kept on saying we needed just a long time to discuss these issues, and I'm getting told that we only have 8 minutes. That's why I'm really trying to pick these issues, so when we come back now, then we can set this conversation.
Okay.
One of the things that you're going to find, especially in men or these young adults now already going to campus, is that even before they start to even talk about career choices, how to relate to people, even how to pick your friends, that you gotta build their self-esteem issues. That's the major issue. Majority of them now, like I said, they find themselves in a place where all of a sudden you got no supervision, you got the ability to choose whatever it is you want, do whatever it is you want. Some of them don't even go to class because there is that liberty of no good doing that. Is that an issue that you focus on? Building the self-esteem of these young men to the point that they can actually identify themselves. Because one of the reasons why majority of them lose track is low self-esteem issues.
Sure. Because keeping in mind, hii maisha ni yangu, shughulika na
yako.
We need to mentor them. That's what we are doing. We want to mentor them actually to know their worth kabisa. Si ati unafuata tu mob psychology, you're just there following others and what they are doing. No, we just want to keep a good track of them and make sure we mentor them in the right way. Starting from there, tukianzia chini, we go up. That's will mentor them.
How do you achieve candid conversations in your talks with these young men? How do you achieve that environment where jamaa anaweza kuambia, by the way, mimi kinanisumbianga hapa shule ni madem, and then I'm imagining that is essentially in that group of young guys that you're speaking to. How do you achieve that environment?
It's a tricky one, but you have to be right with your points.
Yes.
But it's a very tricky one. It's a tricky one. Mwanaume ajitolea anze kuambia tu story yake. But imagine they open up.
They do.
They do. Because they don't have that platform and they really want to share.
Or it's just a lack of platform that essentially helps them share as well?
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Lex, I want you to jump in on that.
Yes.
Just creating that environment for this, because the only way that you can walk out of a discussion and then say, essentially, tumefanya kazi huko, is just how blunt those conversations are going to be. Somebody stands up and gives you a life story, a life experience. How do you achieve that environment?
You know what really happens or what exists in these colleges and universities?
Yes.
They have groups. They have ladies groups that work on supporting ladies. They have groups for gentlemen that work on supporting the gentlemen.
Yes.
That is what we discovered. But inside these groups, it's just the students and probably one lecturer or the dean of students who is taking them through all these 4 years. You see, you cannot be having the same conversation on building your self-worth with the same person for like 4 years.
Indeed.
That is what we discovered. And we are really trying to build on that and to penetrate. Because we've had meetings with these university lecturers, because again, they have to know who they will be taking to their students to talk to.
That's true.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, so we had some very candid discussions with the universities and college leaderships. And they told us that, okay, there are some universities that told us, you see, we have a group that tries to mentor these young men.
Yeah.
But basically, we do not have some dedicated team that can bring in different people to guide them. So you see now that is our penetration line.
Yeah, I can see that.
So with the guidance of these lecturers, and because these are some of the people that they are very close with,
Yes.
then we come in, build that relationship, because it's not just a one-time talk. It's not like we are coming, discussing, and then we are leaving, no follow. We are making that connection with them.
Yes.
We go the initial discussion, we sit with the group that has already been created, discuss with them, and then tell them we are coming back after this time. And what we'll be doing is we need you to bring in more people. You know these students, because they're your fellow students, you know the problems that they are going through. You can identify who is using drugs. You can identify who is not performing well in class, and you know where the problem starts. So bring them so that we mentor them from there. And then from there we just make very frequent follow-ups just to make sure that this group brought us this guy. He was an addict. He is trying to concentrate in class, but there are some things that are pulling him back.
Yes.
We are trying to withdraw him from that. And how are we doing? So after some time, you will now get to know where exactly this student is. Kama ame withdraw,
Yes.
na anaendelea na masomo vizuri, or if there's anything else that we can do beyond just having one-on-one discussions with them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
Just as we, come to the end, but painfully, wow. You know, I'm making this when I'm just starting.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So now, do you envision Man Talk 254 growing into a club in these universities and colleges they've already started speaking to? So that now by the end of the day, probably in 5 years' time, you will say, well, you see, young men in universities already have Man Talk 254. When they sit down, talk about their issues, and from there, we try and give them solutions. Is that the long-term view of whatever it is that you've started?
You know, actually what we are doing, me, I'm doing it out of passion.
Yes.
He's doing it out of passion.
Yes.
So if you're doing something out of passion, you want the best out of it. So for us, we don't want to start something that will end up tomorrow. No, we want something that is long-term. That's why even on our YouTube channel,
Yes.
you'll find we have a Telegram link where you can engage with us. Maybe you want to interact freely with us.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a link there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Lex, your mentorship program is another thing that essentially is lacking in our education system. And it's a good thing that you're pointing it out, that, you see, majority of them do lack mentors, guys who can walk with them through the journey. And I know you've spoken to some of them. They're telling you, Bana, campus life ni hard. You're fighting so much. Food in the haiko, you're trying to some of them are fighting poverty even in these campuses. You know, you look around, some of your kids are rolling, some of them are coming to school in big cars, and you're here trying to even figure where the next meal is going to come from. How are you going to approach this mentorship area? Are you going to see Man Talk 254 now grow to the point that you'll have a pool of mentors who essentially are going to go into these clubs and continue talking to these boys?
Yeah, we actually currently have quite a big team. We have very good mentors like Mike. We have Pastor Alan Asava. Then we have Pastor Mugadizi. So these are clergies.
Yes.
And then besides that, we have doctors.
Yes.
We have one doctor who's already joined us, Charles Ngodo, who works with the Nairobi Women's Hospital. What we are looking at is growing the Man Talk 254 into an organization that is fully equipped with all cadres of personalities. You need a doctor to talk to students about STIs, STDs, diseases that they cannot talk to. We have doctors.
Yes.
You need lawyers. We'll be having lawyers. That is our end game. You need media personalities. We'll be having someone like you.
Call me.
To assist us in guiding some of these students. Our end game is to ensure that we have a generation of young men who can build the nation. Basically, this Generation Z, the employers, the employees, they are not employers, they are not innovators. They are looking at coming in and capturing what you've already created and getting something out of it. They don't want to create something for themselves that can assist or help other people.
Yes.
And then again, we'll be focusing again on making follow-up even to families to see that we have a coexistence. You have enough to pay your school fees, feed yourself, and you are having extra. And there's this other guy who is not even able to get food yet is in campus. How can we share whatever you have and make sure that this other guy also grows up and probably tries to match your level?
You know what, guys? I'll call you back. Let's fight. Let's fight with the producer Mary after this. We gotta give more time.
We have a lot to discuss.
The surface of this conversation. Guess what? The Man Talk 254, helping the youth understand what their worth is. On YouTube, you guys are on the Man Talk 254.
Yeah, the Man Talk 254.
Want to check them out? You know exactly what to do. The Man Talk 254 on YouTube, and talk to us right here at Lookup TV across all your social media platforms. We painfully end this conversation. Once we come back, then the beautiful Miss Muguru Kimani is back with the DJ Kolita. Like we promised, let's chome studio kidogo, and then once we come back, Miss Muguru Kimani will be coming again with a bigger conversation with one very popular music artist in the country. I'll be telling you who that is shortly after this. Good morning.